Okay, I'm going to start again. Okay, we had a splurge of guys just coming on. So if you want, I'll give you about 30 seconds if you want to download the Chapter 13 note sheet. Um, I'm also going to say I'm going to send out a remind, but since Blackboard was out for a long part of today, I'm going to make the notes due Monday. I know they can be due Friday, but we have lecture and I'm not going to collect them in lecture. So there's no use for me to tell you you should have your notes due. So I'm going to make the notes due on Monday. Okay. So chapter 13 notes will now be shifted to Monday. All right. All right. With that being said, I'm going to start off, and he starts the chapter by talking about total revenue. And forget what that says. Total revenue, you need to know, is price times quantity. Total revenue is price times quantity. Okay. And then total core, and then profit is total revenue minus total cost. We'll talk about total cost in a second. So total revenue is price times quantity, and profit is total revenue minus total cost. Okay. He then talks about explicit and implicit cost. And again, and I'll look at the practice test with you, explicit costs are inputs that cost money. So inputs that require an outlay of money. Think rent, think food, think labor. Well, you got to pay money for those inputs. That's an explicit cost. Implicit cost are costs that don't require an outlay of money. So that would be me getting another job and giving up a $55,000 salary to start my own business. My new business is not going to pay anyone $55,000. It's just what I'm giving up. Okay. Now, total cost for economists is explicit plus implicit. So economists take in explicit and implicit cost. Okay. So total revenue for an economist minus explicit and implicit cost is the profit. So for an economist, profit equals total revenue minus explicit and implicit cost. For an accountant, and there is, I didn't see that. For an accountant, profit is total revenue minus explicit cost. All right. The cost of so here's what this is saying. If if I had a savings bond and I had a $20,000 savings bond and I was earning $1,000 a month on it, and then I had to sell my bond to open a business, the 20,000 that I used to open the business is not a cost. But the 1,000 that I used to make on that interest, that is an implicit cost because I gave that 1,000 up to open my own business. Okay. And I think in one of the scenarios, I think it's Sarah, she opens up a business and she gives up, and I'll go over that so you could see that it's an implicit cost. Okay. Again, implicit cost not counted by accountants. All right. Here it is, economic profit, total revenue minus explicit and implicit cost. Accounting profit, total revenue minus total explicit cost. I just giving people a second if they need to jot something down. All right. you don't need the production function, but marginal product, increase in output that arises from an additional unit. So marginal, right? So it's an increase in output that arises from an additional unit of input. So I would say an additional output that arises from additional input. Okay. And remember, the marginal productivity curve rises initially and then decreases. All right, diminishing marginal product. Again, man, this is the textbook definition. I'm going to read mine because it's better. Diminishing marginal product. As you add an input, which is usually workers, as you add an input to a fixed resource, marginal productivity eventually declines. As you add an input to a fixed resource, marginal product eventually declines. Okay, so you have at first you have marginal product increasing at an increasing rate. First stage, marginal product increasing at an increasing rate. Second stage, marginal product decreasing, total revenue increasing at a decreasing rate. So I might have goofed up the first stage. So the first stage, marginal product increasing, total product increasing at an increasing rate. Second stage, marginal product decreasing, total product increasing at a decreasing rate. And then third stage, marginal product negative, total product decreasing. Okay, so you got marginal product increasing in the first stage, total product increasing at an increasing rate. Marginal product decreasing in the second stage, total product increasing at a decreasing rate. That is the law right there. It's kind of the law of diminishing marginal returns, that second stage. And then the third stage, negative marginal product, negative total product. All right. You have then fixed and variable cost. Costs that do not vary with the quantity of output. Costs that do not vary with the quantity of output. So if I'm thinking fixed costs, I'm thinking rent. Variable costs are costs that vary with the quantity of output. If I'm thinking variable costs, I'm thinking sauce, cheese, labor, hourly labor, electricity. That could be variable cost. And then total cost is fixed plus variable cost. Okay. We kind of went over these today in class a little. Okay. Now, how do I find the averages of these? All right. Fixed cost divided by quantity of output. Variable cost divided by quantity of output. All right. I'm trying to get that back up there. I'll give you a second. Okay. So remember zero, if you look at the zero output, the total cost always gives you what to fix, even though this is. So say they didn't give you this, zero output, 3 total cost. I could put 3 straight down for the fixed cost. All right. Because variable cost is 0 there. All right. Now, if I look at fixed cost for the second item, it's going to be $3 divided by 2 for the average fixed cost of $1.50. The variable cost is 80 cents divided by 2. Average variable cost is 40 cents. And the total cost is fixed plus variable. So it would be $1.50 plus 40 is $1.90. And we did this chart, like we did a different chart in school, and I think most of us were able to figure out the marginal cost. Marginal cost is change in total cost over change in output. Change in total cost over change in output. Now, the change in output is always one. So the marginal cost would be like for the second item, 380 minus 330, 50 cents. For the third, 450 minus 380, 70 cents. All right, there's a question in the chat. Let me go to the chat. Would variable cost be the amount of cost to produce 1 cup per hour without fixed cost? Yeah, variable cost would be the cost, for 1 cup. I mean, that would be 30 cents. And for 2 cups, it would be 80 cents. Okay, Stephen? Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Good. How to get the clutch curves. Then I want to get, they are. Okay. Here are your cost curves. Okay. All right. ATC has to be above ABC. Why? Because ABC and AFC equals ATC. The gap between ABC and ATC is AFC. MC is like that. All right, they drew MC as a straight line this time. All right, where MC crosses ATC, that's productively efficient. Where MC crosses ATC, that's productively efficient. Where MC crosses, it doesn't cross AVC here, but it usually does. Where MC crosses AVC, it's crossing AVC at its lowest cost. Okay. And I'm just going to leave. I think like we'll look at the practice quiz and we'll see like the 2 cost curves they show you. But I think one looks a little like this one. Okay. Okay. Marginal cost of it. All right. All right. Now, here's another version, again, where MC, and I'll do this again. They like to ask this type of thing. Like here, it's productively efficient. I'll just put PE for productively efficient. And it's the least cost. Okay. Here is low minimum AVC, minimum AVC. Okay. Now, remember, if MC is above ATC, ATC will be going up. If MC is below ATC, ATC would be going down. If MC is increasing, marginal product is decreasing. So let's get those 3 things. If MC is increasing, marginal product is decreasing. All right, they're inverse. If MC is anywhere below ATC, ATC is going down. Say ATC is my average in econ at a 90, below it and I get an 80, my average is going to go down. I get a 95 on this quiz, which is above it, my average will go up. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, economies of scale. I want to see, do they have a better graph? Nah. Economies of scale. Just remember, on the first part, ATC is downward sloping. Average total cost falls as output increases due to specialization. Okay. Output increases, ATC decreases. Specialization. Constant, okay. Output increases, ATC stays the same. And then the third, ATC output increases, ATC increases. And this is mismanagement, duplication of jobs, inefficiency. All right. Okay. That is, I'm going to try to go to the practice quiz. Okay. Now, here's what I would say about the practice quiz. Let's look at scenario 13. Samantha has been working. Someone has a question. When MC and ATC meet, it's yes. Tucker, that is correct. Can you go over what long run and short run mean again? Yeah, short run is you have fixed cost. Long run, you have no fixed cost. Okay, Stephen? Short run, fixed cost. Long run, no fixed cost. All right. We're here. Samantha has been working at a law firm, earning an annual salary of $80,800. She decides to open up. Okay. She's opening up her own business. That that 80,000. Okay, I'm going to put an I. It's an implicit cost. Okay, why? Because she gave that up to open up her own practice. Her annual expenses include 15,000 for office rent. Well, you got to pay money for that, so that's explicit. Okay, it's an E. 3,000 explicit. 1,000 for supplies explicit. I'll just underline the explicit. 1,200 for utilities explicit. A 35,000 salary for secretary explicit. All right. And Samantha will cover her startup expenses by cashing in a $20,000 certificate. Okay, that's not a cost in which she was earning. And oh, so she's now not earning that 500 interest she used to earn. That's implicit. Okay. So now you're going to have the same scenario. Friday, you know the implicit costs are 80,500 for her salary. Is it eight? No, just 80,000 for her salary, 500 for her interest. So you now know the implicit cost in this scenario is 80,500. Okay, that's the implicit. Now, if I add up explicit, which is 15,000 plus office rent of 3,000 is 18,000 plus equipment rental of 1,000 is 19,000 plus supplies is 20,200 and then 35,000, that's 55,200. Okay. All right. So If it's something about economic profit or economic cost, I'm going to do implicit and the explicit. If it's accounting, I'm just going to do the 55,200, the explicit. Okay. Since Samantha is paying 35,000 out of, yes, but she is paying someone else, Ryan. Does that make sense? It's not like she's giving up her salary. She's paying a secretary. Okay. Question. All right. So now we have the implicit and explicit for this. All right. So I just wanted to get that. So Samantha's annual implicit cost would equal, D 80,500. Now they might ask on the actual quiz, Samantha's accounting cost, that'd be 55,200. They might ask a total cost for an economist, that would be 135,700. Okay. So I wanted to just get that on that scenario. Now let's scroll down, hopefully get the second one. Okay, Wanda, that's the second. Let me get the chat. Can you go over how 500? Yeah. She was making 500 in interest. Now, because she had to sell that 20,000 certificate and use it to open up a new business, she's now making zero in interest. So she gave up $500 in interest. So it's an implicit cost. Does that make sense to you? I got the chat going here. Scroll down. Okay. Good. All right, now let's go to Wanda. All right. So Wanda owns a home. She produces homemade using 5 inputs: water, sugar, lemon. All right. Her cost per glass is followed. All right. Water, 1 cent, explicit. Got to pay for that water. 2 cents for sugar, explicit. 3 cents for lemon, explicit. 2 cents for cups, explicit. All right. And then 10 cents for opportunity cost of her labor. All right. Her labor, implicit. All right. So if I add up the explicit, it's 1, 3, 6, 8 cents per cup, explicit, 10 cents per cup, implicit. Okay. Now, she could sell 300 glasses for 50 cents each. What is total revenue? Price times quantity. 300 times 50, total revenue is $150. If they ask for accounting profit, I'm going to take the total revenue, 150, and then I'm going to do 8 cents for explicit cost times 300 glasses and get $24 in cost. So it'd be 150 minus 24. If they ask for economic profit, I'm going to do the 300 times 18 cents because it's implicit and explicit cost. Okay? All right. But for Friday, again, in this scenario, how much is implicit, how much is explicit, and then you also know how to figure out the total revenue. Price, which is 50 cents, times quantity, which is 300. The scenarios are going to be word for word the same. The questions under the scenario will vary. All right, let me see. Could I scroll down? because one other thing I wanted to cover the last scenario. Oh, I want to look at figure 13.7. At A, MC is crossing AVC, so that's where AVC is at the minimum. At B, MC is crossing ATC, that's where, hold it, maybe I'm not seeing. B is crossing AVC, I'm sorry. So that's variable cost at the minimum. C is MC crossing ATC. That's where you're productively efficient. So if they ask C on the quiz, that's productively efficient. At D, MC is higher than ATC, so ATC would be increasing. At A, MC is lower than ATC, so ATC would decrease. So I'm going to go over those points again. A, below ATC, ATC decreasing. B, across touching AVC, AVC at its lowest. C, intersecting with ATC, productively efficient. D, above ATC, ATC rising. Okay. All right. You get this one. Just going to give you all the curves. D, marginal cost curve. C, ATC. All right. B, AVC. I know that because ATC has to be greater than AVC. I know it's MC because when it's crossing the ATC, ATC starts to go up. And A, AFC. So D, MC, C, ATC, B, AVC, A, AFC. Okay. Last scenario. All right. 7,000 staplers and they sold them for $6. So if they ask you for total revenue, it's 7,000 times 6, price times quantity. In producing the 7,000 staplers, they had variable costs of 28,000 and a total cost of 45. So total cost equal variable plus fixed. So I know then fixed cost has to be 17 and variable 28 because that equals 45. So let me go over that again. Staplers, 7,000 times $6, total revenue 42,000. I know if variable cost is 28 plus fixed cost, which is X, equals 45, fixed cost has to be 17. Now here, they asked for the firm's average fixed cost. We figured out it was 17,000, so you divide it by 7,000 staplers. If Friday they asked for the average variable cost, you would take the 28,000 and divided it by 7,000. If they asked for the average total cost, you would take the 45,000 and divide it by 7,000. Okay. I think knowing those scenarios and knowing the graphs give you huge head start. Does anyone have any particular questions on anything? I'm willing to answer any questions. I'm also videotaping this in case anyone wants to listen to it again or people missed it today. Okay. Question from the chat. Let's see what the question is. What was on figure 13.4? Okay. I have no idea, but let me look what 13.4 is. Oh, 13.4, Mikey, is this graph right here. Did you want me to go over curves again on 13.4? Or did you just think it was a blank? Oh, you need A. Let me see what A is. A is average fixed cost. I know that, Mikey, because average fixed cost always goes down as output increases. But honestly, after this quiz, you'll probably never see an average fixed cost curve again. Any other questions? Okay, another one from the chat. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, I'll be in before school tomorrow at 7:45. I'll be probably after school for a while tomorrow. And I'll also be in school Friday to do the same review. But if you did the practice or you have any questions, you could ask them then. Okay. All
Ryan
right.
had a question.
Sure. Oh, what's your question?
No, Ryan had a question in the chat.
Oh, really? I didn't see it. Oh, can you go over question 8 of the last question? Ryan, I don't have the homework. Could you tell me what it, could you just put your mic on and read it? I don't know, were you on when I said this? But, oh, okay. I don't know were you on when I said this, but I'm gonna send out a remind today and say because Blackboard was out today for a part of the day, I'm gonna extend the homework to be due Monday. So if you wanna ask me that tomorrow in class, I'll answer it in class. Your homework is due Monday, not tomorrow. Does that work? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Tucker. Okay, if there's no other questions, have a great night. I will see you guys in class tomorrow. And again, thank you for joining.